The Backstage Experience starts now. Welcome to the Backstage Experience as we take you backstage with the biggest names and games in entertainment. This week, we get you ready for the spooky season with our favorite family-friendly and scary Halloween movies. The cast of Coco goes un poco loco, and Ralph Fiennes takes us behind the Vatican walls with Conclave. Plus, in gaming, David Johnson gets us ready for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Batman Arkham Shadow, and more. All this week, only on the Backstage Experience.
Welcome to the Backstage Experience. I'm John Stenval.
I'm Dave Morales, and we call this like the Halloween Eve special because next week we're going to do a Halloween special of the Backstage Experience. And John, something I never even did as a kid.
What's that?
Dress up in costume for Halloween.
So you're going to come on the show dressed up?
Yes, I have a Halloween costume that will win me all kinds of Halloween costume contests.
It better be like a real costume too, and not something that you just picked up at the dollar store, like a mask or
You know what?
like
You'll
that.
have to tune in next week and find out what my Halloween costume is next week. All right, before we do any of that, though, we're going to revisit with the cast of Coco. It's one of the most streamed videos on the Backstage Experience YouTube channel. You can actually scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to that channel. Subscribe, hit the notifications button, and revisit some of our favorite videos.
Yeah, Anthony Gonzalez is going to sing for us here on the Backstage Experience. Dave and I are also going to share our favorite family-friendly and scary Halloween movies to get you ready for the season.
And we're also getting you ready for the Academy Awards with a movie called Conclave that is now in theaters. Actor Ralph Fiennes is going to stop by and talk about his role in a very deep drama. I'm so excited to have Ralph Fiennes on our show this week.
But first, we're going to kick things off. David Johnson joining us right now here on the Backstage Experience. Now, David, I know Black Ops 6, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is coming out this week. Tell us all about it.
Thanks, guys. Coming up this week on the Backstage Experience in Gaming, we head back to the 1990s for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We also head to Sega for a new Sonic game that includes Shadow called Sonic and Shadow Generations. And finally, it's your turn to put on the Batman mask in the new Batman Arkham VR game for MetaQuest 3. All that and more right now. Arguably, the most popular storyline in the Call of Duty franchise has returned. Black Ops 6 is the newest entry in the annual Call of Duty series, and the story takes players back to the favorite decade of millennials everywhere, the 1990s. The story specifically starts in 1991 after the events of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, released in 2020. The player will follow rogue operatives Troy Marshall and Frank Woods as they assemble an undercover team to hunt down a dark force that has infiltrated the CIA. In addition to a multiplayer component and a co-op zombies component, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 adds a new feature called Omni Movement to the overall experience. This allows players to sprint, dive, and slide in any direction to allow for even faster-paced combat. Over in the Sega world, Shadow the Hedgehog is back after a long hiatus, and he brings both classic and modern Sonic for Sonic and Shadow Generations. This collection features a brand new story campaign starring Shadow, as well as Sonic Generations, the time-traveling Sonic adventure that includes upgraded visuals and new bonus content. In Sonic Generations, the player must save the world from two Dr. Eggmans, taking advantage of time travel to erase his past and rewrite history so that Sonic can never win. And finally, the next Batman Arkham game has arrived, but this time you get to put on the cowl and become the Dark Knight. Batman Arkham Shadows is a new action-adventure game for the MetaQuest 3 and the 3S that is set between the events of Batman Arkham Origins and Batman Arkham Asylum. As a title for the MetaQuest, this game is played from a first-person perspective with the player assuming the role as both Batman and Bruce Wayne. The story follows a young Batman who must stop a new villain called the Rat King from unleashing chaos in Gotham City and destroying Batman's influence. The popular free-flowing action combat from the previous games has returned for this game, this time with the player physically in charge of every punch, dodge, and counter. The stealth sections have returned as well, with a focus on the player's movement and breathing pattern. Long story short, if you breathe too loud while wearing the MetaQuest, your Batman days may be over very quickly. For those new to the MetaQuest, from now until April 2025, if you purchase a Quest 3 or a Quest 3S, Batman Arkham Shadow will be included for free.
Okay, so now everybody's having these early Halloween parties, people coming over the house, and you're wondering, what can I show like in the background? Movies that we can all sit around and enjoy.
Some family-friendly options and some scary options for the adults.
I'm doing the family-friendly ones.
I'm doing the scary ones. Come on.
Go figure. Let's take a look. We're getting you ready for Halloween, so here are my favorite family-friendly Halloween movies. Goosebumps. A teenager teams up with the daughter of young adult horror author R.L. Stine after the writer's imaginary demons are set free on the town of Madison, Delaware. It is based on horror novels by R.L. Stine and it stars Jack Black. Hocus Pocus. A teenage boy named Max and his little sister move to Salem, where he struggles to fit in before awakening a trio of diabolical witches. It stars Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker. Another one of my favorite family-friendly Halloween movies, Hotel Transylvania. Dracula, who operates a high-end resort away from the human world, goes into overprotective mode when a boy discovers the resort and falls for the Count's teenage daughter. It stars Adam Sandler. And we have to talk about Nightmare Before Christmas. Jack Skellington, king of Halloween Town, discovers Christmas Town, but his attempts to bring Christmas to his house of horrors causes confusion. Written by Tim Burton, it is not directed by Tim Burton. No, a lot of people are confused about that. And finally, my favorite family-friendly Halloween movie, Beetlejuice, the original from 1988. The spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home and hire a malicious spirit to drive them out. Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and Michael Keaton star in the original Beetlejuice.
Now for the best scary Halloween movies, we've got to start with the franchise named after our favorite holiday, Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis plays the character Laurie Strode as she battles Michael Myers in one of the most epic face-offs in horror cinema history. We recommend starting with the 1978 classic before making your way through the franchise's 13 films. After Michael Myers came Robert Englund's portrayal as Freddy Krueger and Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street. Johnny Depp makes his feature film debut in the 1984 classic slasher as he and Heather Langenkamp investigate a series of teenage deaths caused by the disfigured Midnight Mangler, Freddy Krueger. Hiya, Georgie. If you hate clowns, well, we definitely got a couple movies for you. In It, Bill Skarsgård stars as Pennywise the Dancing Clown in the 2017 supernatural horror based on the Stephen King novel. Set in the sleepy town of Deering, Maine, 7 young outcasts band together over the course of a terrifying summer to overcome their own personal fears and take on the murderous, bloodthirsty clown, Pennywise. If Art the Clown is more your style, then you can't go wrong with the Terrifier movie series. If you have a Gen Zer living in your house, you've undoubtedly heard about the virality of the third Terrifier movie on TikTok. This film series isn't for the faint of heart, but if you're up for the challenge, give it a go. You definitely will never look at clowns the same way again.
Get ready to get a little crazy with the cast of Coco, as stars Anthony Gonzalez and Benjamin Bratt. Get ready to sing us Un Poco Loco.
That I'm only un poco loco.
That's coming up next, only on the Backstage Experience.
Welcome back to the Backstage Experience. It is one of the most streamed videos on the Backstage Experience.
The most streamed interview we've ever had.
The YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should be subscribed to. Hit the QR code, notifications, you know the drill. We're talking about the movie Coco.
Un poco loco.
All right, we're going to let Anthony Gonzalez, the
terrible
actual guy that, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. The actual singer, the actor from the movie, Anthony Gonzalez, he's going to sing the real version. We're going to revisit, getting you ready for Halloween, of course, with the cast of Coco.
Once every year, our ancestors come back to our world
Please have a safe journey.
to see family and friends. But no living person has ever visited their world. Until now.
Oh my gosh, you guys are great voice actors, but your singing, I had no idea. I've known you for a little while. I had no idea you had that in you.
Yo, brother, neither did I.
And you, my friend.
He's phenomenal.
Have you sung for years or?
Oh yeah, actually I've been singing since the age of 4. And just to sing and act in the same project was just so much fun.
Break me off a little. I wasn't gonna ask you to do this, but.
Poco Loco, maybe?
You make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco. The way you keep me guessing, I'm nodding and I'm yesing. I'll count it as a blessing that I'm only un poco loco.
Oh my gosh!
Thank you.
The story how you both came on board, I hear, is fascinating. You got a box from Pixar. They put you in a room full of drawings?
They led me into a room that was maybe twice the size of this room here, and on every wall, from top to bottom, it was covered in Dia de Muertos iconography, and that moved me, man, because I have family members, my own children, my mother, my tios, my tias, my nieces and nephews, my brothers and sisters. We don't often get a chance to see a reflection of ourselves in a movie this grand. And that's a game changer. It really is. There's gonna have global reverberation of positivity when this movie comes out, because what it does is it not only underscores the unique beauty of the culture itself, but it also goes a long way to demonstrate that we all share the similar values, man. We all want to feel a sense of belonging and a recognition of family. We all like to celebrate our history and hold on to our memories. It's a very universal thing, and hopefully audiences around the world will recognize that unique beauty, but also see the sameness that we all share.
Abuelita runs our house just like Mama Imelda did.
No music! No music! No music!
I think we're the only family in Mexico who hates music. And my family's fine with that. But me?
Be back by lunch, mijo.
Love you, Mama! I am not like the rest of my family.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as
And
well.
congratulations on this film. I love the fact that there's bright colors. It looks great on the screen. I love the story. I love the music. Great singing voice, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have you sung for a while, or?
Yeah, but for myself, never recorded. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, well, no, I've been doing it in a few films. I did it, but never. You know, like I don't feel a singer. I mean, I just like doing it.
You sound great. Everybody, I'm hearing that story from everybody. Benjamin, everybody is saying that I've never really sung, and here I am in this major motion picture singing it. It
Oh
just sounds
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. But that's the what's so nice about the challenge of this movie also. I mean,
Right.
they asked us to sing, you know, and they were the ones that were confident that we were going to be able to do it, and we were all like, no, I don't know if I'm able to, you know, like, but they make it, they make everything sure so that you're able to put it out there. Yeah.
So that's what I like about this story.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what is it about this story that you like so much?
Many things. I mean, many things. I mean, I just love the fact that this film encompasses a very simple fable in a context that is incredibly profound, which is the tradition of the Day of the Dead. I'm very pleased that, you know, through a film that is very entertaining, that is very beautiful to watch, you know, you can get into this very deep and profound reflection on your family, on your where you come from, on this is what we were talking about in the where you will go, you know, and what will happen, and how you can live life more fully. So it is a really beautiful relationship that occurs when you see this film.
Next on the Backstage Experience, actor Ray Fiennes takes us behind the Vatican walls in Conclave. Only on the Backstage Experience.
Welcome back to the Backstage Experience, and there's a big movie coming out in theaters this week called Conclave, and Dave, I'm hearing this might be an awards contender.
It is definitely going to be an awards contender. It stars actor Ralph Fiennes, one of our favorites of all time, and he really is. Look at his resume of acting credits, it's incredible. So this is the story, a fictionalized version of what happens when a new pope is selected. The cardinals go into the Sistine Chapel, which you and I have actually been.
Yeah, we've been there.
Inside the Sistine Chapel, not when they were choosing the pope,
No.
just random guys. Hey, what's going on, guys?
We were tourists.
Yeah, we were tourists that day. They weren't there. So anyway, this is a heavy drama story. Of course, it stars actor Ralph Fiennes. It does take place at the Vatican, so I had to ask, did they film at the Vatican? We're going to talk that and more about the movie Conclave this week on the Backstage Experience.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
What happened? They say a heart attack.
You know how rumor spreads, and 1.25 billion souls watching.
Well thought, no, Lawrence. It seems the responsibility for the conclave falls upon you. The supervision of this election. It's a duty I never thought I'd have to perform.
Hey, what's going on, Edward? It's great to meet you. I was going to say, and Rafe, last time you and I talked, it was no time to die. It's always a pleasure and an honor to speak with you, sir. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Rafe, I'm going to start with you. You continue to amaze us on the screen. Everybody is singing the praises of this. Rafe, what made this acting experience, this particular role, different for you?
I guess at some level it felt quite personal. I mean, I was brought up a Catholic. I did rebel against it was a mandatory for a long time for me to attend Mass. And I found that hard, and I eventually said to my mother, I don't want to do this. She, to give her credit, she respected that wish, although she was a bit upset. But I've never lost my fascination with what it is to have belief. Wherever I'm in a country where I love going to places of worship, whether they're ruins or not, and they don't have to be Christian. I'm fascinated by what it is in mankind that they need to have a belief structure, a belief in another power, another system, spiritual energies. So these questions are interesting to me. And suddenly there's this script where the sense of who is going to be the right person to hold this position of incredible spiritual leadership in a Christian context. Who is that person? And it reawoke for me all kinds of curiosities about the church, relations of mine who have been priests and theologians. So I felt I had a sort of my own backstory helped, was a motivating fact in trying to prepare for the part.
Edward, did you get to film at the I've been to the Sistine Chapel, lucky enough to go to Rome, and I took a tour. We did a Scavi tour as well. Very accurate, I will say, when I'm looking at this film. But did you all film at the Vatican? It looks just like it.
That was our goal. We wanted to create the illusion as if we wanted to give you the impression that we're in the Vatican, within those walls. We wanted it to feel real. We wanted to feel have contrasting architecture, reflect all the architecture that's going on, while finding a visual equivalent to expressing what's going on within Rafe's character. But no, we did not film inside the Vatican. We built the Sistine Chapel in Cinecittà with the wonderful painters in Rome. And Cinecittà is a studio, a very famous studio outside of Rome, so that was very inspiring. And we built the Casa Santa Marta, which is the place where the cardinals are sequestered during the conclave. We built that right next door.
Certainly did. Guys, thanks so much for your time. Again, Rafe, great to see you. Amazing film. Loved it. Edward,
thank you so much.
This is a conclave. It's not a war.
It is a war. And you have to commit to a side.
Before we go, Russell Crowe gives us a backstage look at the true story of Father Gabriele Amorth, best known as the Pope's Exorcist.
That's the thing that initially intrigued me. I thought, oh, they've made that up. And then I looked it up and realized that they hadn't made it up. It was an actual job,
Only on the Backstage Experience.
Welcome back to the Backstage Experience. Now, before we go, it's your favorite actor, hands down.
Yeah.
Mr. Russell Crowe.
Yeah, so he's got a movie out called The Pope's Exorcist.
Wait a minute. We just did Conclave, which is the Popes, the Vatican.
There's not a theme here. Maybe there is.
Okay, and you're talking about Halloween. What are you doing? All right.
Yeah, so Russell Crowe started a movie called The Pope's Exorcist, which is actually based on a real exorcist that the Pope had hired. He's going to tell us all about it.
You know, I'm Catholic. I've been to the Vatican. I understand you were there to do some research as well, but I had no idea that there is a chief exorcist. Did you know about that position before taking this on?
No, that's the thing that initially intrigued me. I thought, oh, they've made that up. And then I looked it up and realized that they hadn't made it up. It was an actual job, you know. And this particular man was in that job for 36 years. It was my fascination with him as a person and what he did, but then also the events all through his life that brought me to the project.
You're filming some of these scary scenes that you see in the film, all this craziness going on in front of you. Would you be as calm as Father Gabriel was?
I don't think I'd stick around, you know? I think if you actually see, you know, a demon rising from a pit of golden lava or something like that, I'd be like, oh, look at the time. And, you know?
Dude, amazing.
On the next episode of the Backstage Experience, Halloween's Jamie Lee Curtis, A Nightmare on Elm Street's Robert Englund, and Beetlejuice's Michael Keaton join the show. That's all next week, only on the Backstage Experience.